God is actually not in a hurry for us to know everything. Knowledge is only effective when it comes at the appropriate time. Information you get too early never turns to knowledge, because it will usually go over your head.
Welcome to Epignosis, the teaching ministry of Chris Morgan. May the light of God illuminate your heart, and may the truth make you free as you listen.
Every stage of life has its problems, its events, and its lessons. Right from birth, we are supposed to go through experiences that bring us to a certain level of knowledge at specific times and seasons in our lifetime. When children are born, after a few months, the child is expected to begin to make a move towards crawling. Curious about the world around, the child is expected to try to reach out and explore. I read in a book about the development of children many years ago, and it was in that book that I learned that a child's strongest sense is the sense of taste. This is why children tend to put everything in their mouth. It's their way of figuring things out. This is also why a child has been given a lot of saliva to help protect them from the microorganisms that could be harmful to them at that level. At this stage of a child's life, the most effective means of knowing is the sense of taste. Now, the sense of touch is the most basic of all senses, but this is followed in a human being by the sense of taste. Before we can get to the stage where we can see and interpret sounds, we can feel, touch, and taste things accurately. For a lot of animals, the primary sense is the sense of smell. Most times, an animal cannot tell if it can eat something until it has taken a sniff. When it now becomes used to that thing as it continues to eat it, it then forms a memory of what it looks like and goes for it at sight. All animals' mental development doesn't actually go further than this. They simply live like that until they are dead. However, for humans, that is the very beginning. Many more stages of development comes in a human being's lifetime. Other senses begin to develop rapidly, making the sense of taste inferior to the others. Each level has expectations. The basic expectation at each level is knowledge. Knowledge that should be acquired at each stage of life. It's quite okay for a baby to simply ease himself or herself on their self without regarding anything. That is why we make pampers and diapers, because it's an expectation. As the baby grows into a child, it becomes less and less acceptable for him or her to do these things. That disapproval which comes from the parent of the child eventually makes the child learn that it's not okay to simply ease himself on himself. Then effort is made by the child not to do that anymore. So, something that was okay at a level might not be okay on another level of development. Each level also has its truths. What is true on this level of life may not be so in another level of life. Many times, when two people never agree on an issue, it could be that they are both operating on different levels of life while trying to see things the same way. Someone standing on the balcony at the 5th floor will not see things the same with someone on the ground floor. Yet, the things they both see are true. It's just that their points of perception are on different levels. I have learned not to try too hard to explain things to certain people, because I have come to recognize the concept of mental developmental levels. There is no need getting angry with someone for not knowing what they are unable to know yet. No need to even try. When Christ spoke in his day, he could not speak plainly, but he only used parables and allegories to teach. Not because he was trying to be mysterious, but because he recognized the mental limitations of his audience. At some point, he told his disciples in John 16:12, he said, I have yet many things to say unto you, but ye cannot bear them now. In other words, he said they could not yet carry those levels of knowledge. There are many things that God has revealed to me today that I did not know years ago. And I used to wonder why God allowed me to walk in ignorance all those years, only revealing those truths to me later in life. I have now come to understand that it wasn't that God did not want me to know, but that I wasn't ready to bear them yet, just as Christ told his disciples. God is actually not in a hurry for us to know everything. Knowledge is only effective when it comes at the appropriate time. Information you get too early never turns to knowledge, because it will usually go over your head. It can rather produce pride and vainglory. Therefore, it's totally pointless to give such information to you at that time. This is why I continue to stress my point about progressive learning. Not ever coming to the place where you feel like you have nothing more to learn. This is the state that I see Christianity in right now. That feeling that nothing new could be added to what has been received from our predecessors. That intolerance to new ideas that was so rife among the Jews at Thessalonica in Acts 17, who caused Apostle Paul a lot of problems in the city and wanted to beat him up for preaching new ideas. These were totally different from the Jews at Berea, who rather listened first, then searched the scriptures to see if what he said matches up. Now, the Jews in these two neighboring towns represent two types of people. The first are people like the Thessalonian Jews, who can't go from level to level because they insist on remaining in one level. They want more power without more knowledge, which is impossible. This is because they believe in maintaining what was delivered to them by their ancestors and predecessors. To them, ancestral things are sacrosanct. As far as they are concerned, the ancestors cannot be wrong about anything. It's a form of pseudo-ancestral worship, which is also found in Christianity today. They believe whatever Moses or anyone in scriptures wrote cannot be corrected or improved upon. These kinds of people don't tolerate new ideas and hate anyone who tries to push for progress. Yet, when Christ came, he tried to bring correction to the content of the law of Moses, which is why the Jews fell out with him. Now, the second kind of people are like the Berean Jews, who will listen first but investigate whatever has been said. And when they find the new idea or the new information credible, they were willing to drop the old for the new. These ones will go from level to level because they are not attached to the past. They can learn from the past, but they are not ruled by it. Now we need to look at these two kinds of people and ask ourselves what kind of people we want to be. The type that are interested only in maintaining the old landmarks, or the types who want to develop further on what was built and rise from level to level. In the same way that as a child grows older, it becomes awkward for the child to still only know certain things and behave in a certain manner. It's important as individuals not to be stuck at any level of development. Our bodies can only be developed to a certain extent, then it begins to depreciate. Now remember that anything that stops growing starts dying. But your soul has no limit to the extent to which it could develop. So do not get stuck by being satisfied with what you already know. Push ahead and be open to new ideas, just as long as you investigate whatever you hear and be willing to make a change when it proves true. Let me end with this. God is the potter and we are the clay. The only way we can be molded is if we are ready to be broken down in order to be remolded. Anyone who is not willing to be broken down will simply remain as they are. Psalm 34:18 says that God is close to people with a broken heart and a contrite spirit. Now, this is not talking about sad people. The word contrite actually means sandy, something that is in pieces, something that isn't solid. Therefore, it can be molded. There are people who cannot be molded because, like concrete, they are already set in their ways. They have already taken an unchangeable stance. They are not bad people, but such people are useless to God. But rather, God loves people who can still be molded. So decide what kind of person you want to be. But my advice is that be the one who can move from one level to another by being ready and open to learn at all times. Thank you very much for listening, and God bless you.
Hope you were blessed by these teachings. For inquiry, support, and contributions, kindly send us an email on epicgnosis721@gmail.com. You can also send us a message via WhatsApp on 234-80-3577-3659. We would love to hear from you. God bless you.